She was a warrior, born in battle. Raised in fire, her name was Kalara, a commander from a distant planet called Velaris. Her people were tall, strong, and known across galaxies as fearless fighters. They did not run from war. They ran into it. Kalara had led her army for many years. But now, her world was dying. A powerful alien race called the Draxons had invaded. They came with fire, metal, and no mercy. She had fought them with everything she had. Her blades were fast, her mind was sharp. But there were too many. One by one, her soldiers fell. Even Kalara, the unbreakable, was wounded, her armor cracked. Blood poured from her side. Smoke filled the sky. Her planet burned behind her. As the last ship exploded in the air, Kalara fell to her knees. She looked up at the twin suns of Velaris. Her breath was slow. Her vision blurred. She had failed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She closed her eyes and waited to die. But she didn't. Something changed. There was a warm light around her. Not fire, not pain, softness, a strange sound, wind, birds. She opened her eyes, and gasped. She was not on VLARs. She was lying in a bed. The walls were white. There was sunlight coming through a window. Outside, trees moved in the breeze. The air was clean. She tried to sit up, but her body hurt. Her chest burned and her side was bandaged. Suddenly the door opened. A man entered. He looked human, short hair, tired eyes. A little fear on his face. He stopped when he saw her awake. "You're alive?" he said. Kalara stared at him. She couldn't understand his words, but she understood the tone. Confused, shocked, human. She looked at her hands. Still glowing faint blue, still alien. "Where am I?" she whispered. The man didn't understand. He stepped closer slowly. "Hey, it's okay. You're safe." She didn't believe him. She tried to move, but pain shot through her side. He raised his hands. "Please, don't try to get up. You need rest." Kalara looked around the room. This was not a lab, not a prison. It was a home? There were pictures on the wall, books, a plant on the shelf. This man had saved her, but how? And why? Her last memory was of dying. There was no way she could have survived. Not after that explosion, unless... Was this Earth? She had only heard stories. The humans, weak but clever. Soft but stubborn. The only species who had once fought the Draxons. And survived. Was she one of the lucky ones? The man brought her water. She took it slowly. "Do you remember anything?" he asked. She didn't reply. She was still scanning the room, looking for answers. Her suit was gone. She was wearing human clothes, loose, strange fabric, but beneath her skin something was different. Her hand began to glow again. Her veins shimmered. She clenched her fist. The man looked worried. "Are you okay?" She looked up, her voice cold. "Who are you?" He blinked. "I'm Daniel." He smiled, nervous. "I found you. In the woods there was something, a light, a crash." So she had fallen from the sky. Daniel sat down. "At first I thought you were, I don't know, some kind of experiment. You were hurt. I didn't know what to do. I brought you here. I called no one. I waited." "You've been unconscious for 3 days? 3 days?" She should have died, but something had kept her alive. Someone had saved her. Was it this man, or something else? Her mind was still cloudy, but she knew one thing. She wasn't safe. Not yet. If the Draxons knew she survived, they would come. And Earth would be next. Kalara looked at Daniel. "You don't understand what you've done," she said. He frowned. "I saved your life." She nodded slowly. "And you may have just risked your planet." Daniel's smile faded. Outside, a strange bird called from the trees. Inside, Kalara lay back against the pillow, her eyes watching the door. Her war was not over. It had only just begun. Daniel Carter was not a hero. He was just a man. He lived alone, in a quiet cabin deep in the woods of Colorado, far from the noise, far from people. He liked it that way. Each morning he drank black coffee. He hiked the trails. He read old science fiction books and fixed broken radios. His world was small, predictable, peaceful. Until the night the sky burned. It was just after midnight when he saw it. a fireball, falling fast. At first, he thought it was a meteor, but then it changed direction. It moved like it was alive, controlled dot, and then dash boom dot the ground shook. Trees bent with the blast. Birds screamed and flew into the dark. Daniel grabbed his flashlight and ran dot. It took him 20 minutes to reach the crash site. And what he saw there would change everything. A deep crater had formed in the earth like a giant fist had punched the forest floor. Smoke rose from it. Ash fell like snow. The center of the crater, lying and glowing. Broken armor, was a woman, tall, injured, unconscious, not human. Daniel froze. He had read about aliens in books. He had laughed at movies showing flying saucers and little green men. But this was real. Her skin had a faint blue glow. Her eyes were closed, her breathing slow but steady. Her armor sparked with dying energy. A strange symbol pulsed on her chest plate. He didn't think. He just moved. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her. Her body was burning hot, like a furnace. Her blood shimmered. Somehow, he lifted her up and carried her back to his cabin. He didn't sleep that night. He watched over her, cleaned her wounds, and kept her alive with what little first aid he knew. He didn't know if she would survive. He didn't even know if she was dangerous, but something in her face, something in the way she looked even while unconscious, told him she wasn't here to hurt. For 3 days she didn't move. But she breathed. Daniel stayed close, reading to her sometimes, talking out loud even if she couldn't hear. Guess I'm not alone anymore, he joked once, brushing dust off her armor. He didn't tell anyone. No police, no military, because deep inside, something told him this wasn't just an alien crash. It was a warning. And then, on the 4th day, she opened her eyes and stared straight at him. Now sitting in the chair beside her bed, Daniel felt nervous. She was awake, alive, and clearly not from this planet. She spoke in a strange language first. Sharp, quick words. But he didn't understand. He saw her frustration. Her eyes darted around the room like a trapped animal. It's okay, Daniel said softly. You're safe here. I found you. She narrowed her eyes. You? Human? Yes. I'm human. Name's Daniel. There was a long silence, then she asked, slow and careful, Where is this place? Earth, he said. This is Earth, Colorado. You crashed in the forest near my home. She looked down at herself. The bandages, the clothes. Her hands glowed faint blue again. My suit, she whispered. Gone. It was broken, burned. I couldn't fix it. Her eyes locked on his. You touched it? I had to. You were dying. Another long pause. She didn't thank him. Instead, she asked, What year? Daniel raised a brow. 2025. She closed her eyes. Too late. For what? Daniel asked. She didn't answer. He stood up. Look, I don't know what you are or where you came from, but you're here now, alive. I'm not going to hurt you. She looked at him again, this time slower, studying him. You saved me. I think so. You should not have done that. Daniel blinked. Excuse me? She sat up slowly, pain on her face. They will come for me, for this planet. I was supposed to die, but now they will find me. Who? Daniel asked. The Draxons. That word sent a chill down his spine. It sounded heavy, dangerous. They killed my world, she continued. And if they know I live, they will come here. Daniel didn't know what to say. An alien woman hunted by something even worse? This was not the quiet life he knew, but he didn't run. He reached out, offering a hand. Then we'll fight together. She looked at his hand, confused. No weapons, no armor, you are weak. Maybe, Daniel smiled. But humans are good at surviving. She didn't smile back, but for the first time, she looked at him not as an enemy, but as an ally. Maybe Earth still had a chance. The forest was quiet again. A cold wind moved through the trees outside Daniel's cabin. Inside, Kalara sat near the window, staring out into the green. Her wounds were healing fast. Too fast for any normal being. Her alien biology was adjusting, but her mind was still broken. She didn't remember everything, just flashes, like pieces of a shattered mirror. Her name, her rank, the war. And the moment she was supposed to die, the rest was shadows. Daniel watched her from the kitchen. He was making tea. Not because she asked for it, but because he didn't know what else to do. What are you thinking about? He asked Clara. Didn't look at him. Fire, screams, my soldiers all gone. Daniel placed the cup on the table beside her. She didn't touch it. He sat across from her. Tell me what happened. Maybe it'll help. She closed her eyes and the memories returned. Velaris, her home planet, a world of crystal skies and twin suns. Cities built into mountains, rivers that glowed in the dark. Her people, the Velari, lived in harmony with nature and tech. Warriors, artists, thinkers, Clara had been trained since childhood, chosen to lead. Her blades were forged from star metal. Her mind connected to ancient battle systems. Then came the Draxans. They arrived in black ships, covering the sky like smoke. No warning, no mercy. They wanted energy, the core flame of Velaris, a power source deep within the planet. When the Velari refused, the Draxans attacked. Clara led the defense. For weeks they held the line, but the Draxans kept coming. Wave after wave, machines mixed with flesh. No fear, no voice, just destruction. Her final battle was at the Temple of Flame. She and her squad were the last. She remembered the explosion, the sky falling, and the silence. Then, Earth, she opened her eyes. I was a commander. I failed. My world is gone. Daniel leaned forward. You said they'll come here too? Yes. Her voice was cold. The Draxans never stop. If they learn I survived, they will track the energy. Your planet will be next. Daniel rubbed his jaw. But how did you get here? How did you survive that explosion? Clara shook her head. I don't know. I remember closing my eyes, accepting death, then light, not fire, something gentle. A pull. Daniel stood up and walked to the corner of the room. He opened a drawer and took out something wrapped in cloth. I think this belongs to you. He placed the bundle on the table. Clara slowly unwrapped it. It was a crystal shard, glowing faint blue, warm to the touch. Her eyes widened. This is part of my core drive, she said softly. Daniel nodded. It was inside your armor. When I touched it, it pulsed, like it recognized me. Clara stared at him. That's not possible. Daniel shrugged. Well, it happened. I didn't tell you earlier because I wasn't sure what it was. She picked it up. The shard lit up in her hand, brighter now. Symbols flickered in the air above it. Velari writing. Clara translated out loud. Emergency warp activated. Cross-galactic jump initiated. Biological sync incomplete. She looked up, stunned. I was teleported. But the system needed a living source to anchor me. Someone compatible. Daniel blinked. Me? You must have Velari DNA, somehow, maybe from ancient contact. Or, she paused. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Or what? She stared at him, her voice low. Or you're not just human. Silence filled the room. The wind howled outside. Daniel laughed nervously. I'm just a guy with a cabin in the woods. I fix radios, not galaxies. Clara stood now, holding the shard. You may be more important than you know. Suddenly her expression changed. Her eyes narrowed. She walked to the door and opened it slightly. Daniel followed. What is it? She stepped outside, silent, her eyes scanning the trees. Then she whispered, We're not alone. Daniel stepped beside her, heart racing. What do you mean? She pointed to the edge of the forest. A faint shimmer moved between the trees. Like heat in the air, then gone. Cloaking field, she said. They're here. Daniel felt cold. Already? They found me. She gripped the shard. They'll come tonight. Daniel looked around, then at her. Then we get ready. Clara nodded. We fight. That night, the stars above the cabin shimmered faintly, and in the woods, something watched. Something waited. The war wasn't over. It had just followed her home. Asterisk night fell like a heavy curtain, the stars above. Daniel's cabin blinked cold and distant, but he barely noticed them. He was inside, checking locks, closing blinds, turning off lights. Clara stood in the center of the living room. Barefoot on the wooden floor, eyes closed, listening, she could feel them now, a faint pulse in the air, like static. The Draxons had arrived. They were not like her. Not like humans. They didn't march in with guns and roars. They crept in. Silent, watching, hiding behind technology that bent light, bent sound, invisible hunters. Daniel whispered, "How many?" Kelara opened her eyes. 2, maybe 3, scouts, testing the area. Why not just attack? They study first. They learn your habits, your defenses, then they strike. Daniel's throat tightened. And we're the test? Kelara nodded. If we survive tonight, more will come. He handed her a fire axe, the only weapon he had. She took it, tested the weight, and raised an eyebrow. Primitive, she said. But sharp. Daniel grabbed a metal pipe. It wasn't much, but it felt better than nothing. Outside, the forest was too quiet. No owls, no crickets. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. Kelara moved to the window. Then she froze. Daniel stepped beside her and followed her gaze. In the distance, standing just beyond the tree line, was a man, but something was wrong. He wasn't moving. Not even breathing. His body was still, like a mannequin, his head tilted too far. One arm hung loose. The other bent unnaturally. Daniel whispered, "What is that?" Kelara answered with one word, "Decoy." Suddenly the lights went out. Darkness. Then a sound, soft, wet, like skin brushing wood. Something crawling along the walls. Daniel's breath caught. He gripped the pipe tighter. Kelara whispered, "They're inside." She moved fast. Faster than human eyes could track. She grabbed Daniel's arm and pulled him behind the couch just as a section of the wall melted from it. Something stepped through. It wore the shape of a human woman, but it was all wrong. The skin flickered, the eyes glowed faint red. Its mouth opened too wide, showing rows of black, needle-like teeth. It sniffed the air. Then it spoke in perfect English. She should have died. Kelara stood. She almost did, she said coldly. But now she fights. The Draxon turned, too late. Kelara threw the axe. It spun through the air, slicing straight through the creature's head. Its body twitched, glitched, then dropped, but the house trembled again. Daniel yelled, "There's more." Another one came crashing through the back window, fast, low, crawling like an insect. Kelara tackled it mid-air and they slammed into the wall. Wood cracked. Dust flew. Daniel swung his pipe as another figure lunged at him from the hallway. He hit it hard in the chest. It shrieked, high-pitched, metallic, "Go!" Kelara shouted. Daniel stumbled toward the kitchen. He grabbed a bottle of rubbing alcohol and threw it. Kelara caught it mid-air and used a spark from her palm to ignite it. Fire. The creature howled as flames wrapped around its false skin. Outside, more movement. Kelara pulled Daniel by the wrist. "We can't stay here." They ran out the back door into the trees. Smoke rose behind them. The cabin, Daniel's home, lit up like a torch. He looked back once. "Everything I had? It's gone." Kelara's voice was hard. "Then you are free." They kept moving, deeper into the forest. Finally, after a mile, they stopped by a shallow stream. Daniel collapsed to his knees, gasping. Kelara stayed standing, watching the sky. "They were fast," Daniel said between breaths. "Smart, and they looked like us." "They learn," Kelara replied. "They mimic, but they don't feel. No fear, no pain, only mission." Daniel looked up at her. "How do we stop something like that?" Kelara reached into the small pouch at her hip and pulled out the glowing crystal shard. "We don't stop them. Not yet. We send a warning." "To who?" "To the ones who can fight back." She placed the shard on the ground and pressed her hand to it. Light expanded in a slow circle. Symbols hovered in the air. A low hum filled the night. Daniel watched, awed. "What is this?" "A beacon," she said. "To any Velari who survived." "Or anyone else listening?" Daniel looked into the trees. "You think someone will come?" Kelara answered without looking at him. "They have to." The beacon pulsed brighter. Somewhere, far above Earth, a signal was born, and the war had just begun. The forest was cold and quiet. A soft fog moved between the trees like ghosts. Somewhere in the distance, an owl called out once. then fell silent. Kalara sat beside the dying fire. Her eyes stared into the orange flames, but her mind was far away. She was changing. She could feel it in her bones, in her blood. In her breath, her body had begun the shift, not just healing, adapting, becoming something new, human maybe. But not fully. She was in between. Daniel had made a small shelter with broken branches and a tarp from his old cabin. It wasn't much, but it kept the rain off. He came back from the stream carrying a metal pot of water. "You haven't moved," he said softly. Kalara didn't look at him. "My blood is slower, my muscles weaker, but my mind is clearer." Daniel set the pot on the fire. "Is that good?" "I don't know." She held out her arm. A small cut from battle the night before still remained. Normally it would have healed in minutes. Now it was still open. "I'm losing my Valari strength." Daniel knelt beside her. "But you're still here. You're still alive." Kalara looked at him, her voice flat. "For how long?" For a few minutes neither of them spoke. Just the fire. Just the wind. Then Kalara whispered something almost to herself. "I was not born to survive. I was born to fight." Daniel replied, "Maybe Earth is trying to give you something more than survival." She shook her head. "I am not meant to live here." But as she said it, her hand moved, slowly, gently, to the ground. To the earth. Warm, real. Alive. Later that night, Kalara awoke with a jolt. Sweat covered her skin. Her breath was shallow. Her vision was filled with light, not fire, not memory. Something else. She was standing in a strange white room. No walls. No ceiling. Only light and a voice, familiar, deep, calm. "Kalara." She turned. An older Valari stood in front of her. Silver hair, pale skin, blue markings on his forehead. Her mentor. "General Ryan, long dead. You were chosen," he said. "Not for war, but for hope." She shook her head. "I failed." "No," he said. "You lived. That means the war is not over." The light grew brighter. His voice echoed. "Your blood is not pure anymore, but that is your strength. You are more than Valari now." Then everything faded. She woke again beside the fire. Daniel was still asleep across from her. She sat up slowly. Her arms felt heavy, but her mind felt sharp, awake in a new way. She looked at her hands. The glowing lines on her skin had changed. Softer now, mixed with human patterns. Fingerprints. Her transformation was not a curse. It was evolution. She stood, quietly walking to the stream. There, in the water, she saw her reflection. Her face was still hers, the high cheekbones, the warrior eyes. But her skin had changed shade, her hair darker. Her eyes now held a faint ring of green. Human colors, still alien, but no longer only Valari. Back at the camp, Daniel woke up alone. Panic hit for a second, but then he saw her walking toward him, taller, calmer, stronger than ever. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. Then, for the first time since they met, she smiled, just a little. "I remember who I am now," she said, "and what I must do." Daniel sat up. "Good, because we still don't have a plan." Kalara knelt beside the fire. "We can't run forever. We need weapons, communication, allies." Daniel looked unsure. "You said your people are gone?" "Maybe not all." She pulled the shard from her belt, now brighter than before. "It's reaching someone," she said. "I can feel it." Daniel stared into the fire. "I used to believe Earth was alone in the universe. And now?" He looked at her. "Now I believe the universe is watching us." Kalara stood. "Then let's show them we're ready." That day, they moved from the forest, walking toward the nearest town. Kalara wore a long coat Daniel had found in a ranger station. Her glowing skin was hidden. She looked almost human now. But as they stepped onto a road, a black drone buzzed overhead. It paused, scanned, and flew away. Daniel looked up. "That wasn't military, was it?" Kalara's voice turned sharp. "No, that was Draxon Tech. They've begun watching." Kalara nodded. "We need to move faster." And as they walked toward the horizon, toward humans who didn't yet know they were in danger, Kalara whispered under her breath, "I am not the same. I am not just Valari. I am reborn, and this time I will not fail." They reached the edge of town by sunrise. It was small, quiet streets, old buildings, dusty windows. A place forgotten by time. Telara pulled her hood tighter around her face. Her eyes scanned every shadow, every rooftop. She wasn't used to so many people in one place, even if there were only a few. Daniel led the way. He knew this area. It was where he grew up, but something had changed in him too. Ever since Telara arrived, a question had burned in the back of his mind. Why did the crystal react to him? What made him different? He never believed he was special. He never wanted to be. But the more he thought about it, the more things didn't add up. They stopped outside a rundown auto shop, its sign half broken. Miller's Garage? Daniel knocked twice, then once more. A moment later, the door opened. An old man appeared, gray beard, wide eyes, a wrench in one hand. "Danny?" the man said. "That really you?" Daniel smiled. "Hey, Uncle Joe." Joe pulled him in for a quick hug, then looked at Telara. "You, brought a friend?" Telara nodded, her voice flat. "I won't be here long." Joe scratched his head. "Okay then. Come inside, talk fast." Inside, the shop was cluttered with tools, wires, and old radios. Daniel sat Telara down and pulled his uncle aside. "I need to ask you something." "About my parents." Joe's face changed. "Why now?" Daniel leaned in. "Did they ever work for the government?" Joe hesitated. "Don, there's a reason I never talked much about your dad." Daniel's heart skipped. "Why?" Joe sighed. "Because he wasn't just an engineer. He worked in a black site, way out in Nevada, something called Project Hollow Star." Telara looked up. "That name, I've heard it before." Joe turned to her. "You too?" She nodded. "It was a Valari code word. Our scouts warned us about it years ago." Joe pulled out a dusty file box and dumped its contents on the counter. Inside, photos, notes, a map. One picture showed a man, tall, dark hair, standing beside a strange capsule. Alien symbols marked the metal. Daniel stared. "That's my father." Joe nodded. "He never said much, but I overheard things. He worked with something they found in the desert, not from Earth." Telara stepped forward, picking up one document. "This tech. It's Valari?" Daniel whispered. "Are you saying my dad worked with alien technology?" Joe looked at him. "I'm saying your dad helped activate it, and one day it disappeared." Telara held the crystal shard from her belt. "Not disappeared," she said. "Transported. That tech brought me here." "It must have locked onto Daniel." Daniel stared at her. "Why me?" Telara turned slowly, her voice low. "Because your DNA is not entirely human." The words hit like thunder. Daniel sat down hard. "What the hell are you saying?" Joe placed a hand on his shoulder. "Your mom was normal, but your dad, we were never sure." Telara walked over, staring deep into Daniel's eyes. "There's something inside you." "A trace of Valari code." "Something buried, hidden." Daniel stood. "You think I'm part alien?" "No," she said. "I know you are." Daniel paced the room, heart racing. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" Joe shrugged. "Maybe your dad didn't want you involved? Maybe he thought hiding it would protect you." Daniel stopped. "It didn't." Telara moved to the workbench and connected the shard to an old battery. Lights flickered. The shard pulsed faster than ever. She placed her hand on it, then looked at Daniel. "Put your hand here," he hesitated. Then reached forward. The moment his skin touched the crystal, a wave of light shot through the room. Symbols lit up in the air. A hum filled their ears. The crystal spoke. "Biolink complete. Hybrid confirmed. Activating lost data." A holographic projection formed. A recording. A man appeared. The same man from the photo. "Daniel's father. If you're seeing this," the projection said, "then the girl made it through." Telara stepped back. "Daniel froze. I created the link," the recording continued. "I made sure her escape pod would find my son." Daniel's heart stopped. "My son, Daniel Carter, carries the last compatible Valari signature. Earth will need both of you." The recording ended. Silence. Joe backed away. "Your dad knew this day would come." Telara looked at Daniel, her expression unreadable. "You were never ordinary," she said. "You were the key." Daniel looked at his hands. Hands he'd known all his life, now feeling like strangers. "I'm not ready for this," he whispered. Kalara stepped forward. "No one ever is." Outside, a low sound began, a soft hum, growing louder. Kalara turned toward the window. Her voice dropped. "They've found us." Daniel gritted his teeth. "And then let's finish what my father started." Kalara smiled, for the first time. They were no longer running, they were rising. The sky above the town turned gray. Clouds twisted unnaturally, forming shapes that didn't belong to Earth. Wind pushed hard against buildings. The air buzzed like metal grinding against bone. They were coming. Kalara stood on the rooftop of the old auto shop, armor rebuilt from scraps, powered by Daniel's connection to the crystal. Her long coat flapped in the storm. Daniel stood beside her. No longer just a mechanic. No longer just a man. The truth had changed him. He wasn't part of the war. He was part of its end. From the horizon, the Draxan ships appeared, silent. Black and fast, 3 scout-class flyers. Kalara narrowed her eyes. "This is only the beginning." "A test," Daniel asked. "What happens if we pass?" "They send more." He tightened the gloves on his hands, modified with Velari tech. "Then we better make sure this test fails." Below them, Uncle Joe and a few townspeople hid inside the shop. Kalara had warned them, "Stay out of sight, don't draw attention. And don't trust any face that looks familiar, because the Draxans wore masks." And some of them looked human. The ships hovered above the town, then dropped. 3 impact points, craters, screams, panic. Out of the smoke stepped 5 Draxan warriors, 2 disguised as soldiers, 1 as a child, 2 in shifting forms made of black liquid and steel. Daniel whispered, "That one's wearing my face." Kalara replied, "They like to mock their targets." He stepped forward. "Let's show them we're more than targets." The first blast came without warning, a sonic wave that shattered every window within 5 blocks. Glass flew like rain. Buildings groaned. Kalara activated her armor's energy field. Daniel ducked behind her as shards bounced off harmlessly. She leapt forward, a streak of blue light crashing into the lead Draxan. Her fist shattered its disguise. Metal teeth screamed. Daniel followed, pipe in hand, now fused with alien current. He struck another in the chest. Sparks flew. The creature shrieked and turned. Too slow. Kalara cut it down. The one wearing Daniel's face grinned. "You are weaker than we thought," it said, voice echoing strangely. Daniel stared at it. "I've been weak all my life." Then he punched it in the jaw. A blast of blue fire erupted from his hand. The clone flew backward, crashing into a parked car. "I'm done being weak." The battle moved fast, street to rooftop, fire to shadow. Kalara fought like a storm, spinning, striking, glowing with both Velari power and something more. She was no longer just a soldier, she was hope. But then the ground shook again. Louder. Deeper. From the sky, a final ship arrived, larger, older, darker, not a scout. A hunter. Kalara froze. "That's a command ship." Daniel stepped beside her. "That's bad," she nodded. "That means they know who I am." The ship opened, and out stepped a figure in ancient black armor, taller than Kalara. With burning red eyes, she knew him. "Commander Vrax," she whispered. "The one who ended Velaris." He raised a massive weapon. "I gave you the mercy of death once," he said. "This time I won't." Kalara stepped forward. "You made a mistake letting me live." Vrax aimed his weapon, but before he could fire, Daniel jumped between them, holding the shard. It pulsed, then exploded with light. A barrier of pure energy surrounded them. Kalara turned. "What are you doing?" Daniel's eyes glowed faint blue now. "I know what this is. It's not just a weapon, it's a key." "A key to what?" "To finish what your people started." The shard lifted into the air, spinning, humming, casting symbols in the sky, then silence, then boom, a wave of energy blasted outward. Not destruction, but signal, a call, a beacon across the stars. Vrax stepped back. "What have you done?" Kalara smiled. "I didn't do anything." She pointed at Daniel. He did. Above the earth, far beyond sight, ancient satellites hidden by the Velari long ago lit up. The call had reached them, and they answered. Light rained down from the sky, not fire, But Velari tech reactivating after centuries of silence. Beams struck the Draxons. One by one they collapsed, systems fried. Disguises failed. They screamed as their control faded. Even Vrax staggered. No, this is not possible. Kalara stood tall. You stole my world. But Earth has something Velaris never did, Vrax gasped. And what is that? She looked at Daniel, a human who cared. Kalara rushed forward, her blade glowing bright with both her power and Daniel's. One strike. Clean. Final. Vrax fell. The storm cleared. The sky returned to peace. The war, at least for now, was over. Later that night, Kalara stood on a hill outside town. Daniel joined her, bruised but smiling. You did it, he said. No, she replied. We did. He looked at the stars. Are you leaving? Kalara looked at her hand. The glow was fading. I'm not Velari anymore. But I'm not human either. He looked at her. You're both. She nodded. And smiled. For the first time, I think I belong somewhere, he asked softly. Here? She took his hand, and for once, Kalara didn't feel like a soldier. She felt alive.